edges here are that he's trying to undermine the media. He could have undermined the messaging so much that he can actually control exactly what people think, and that is our job. That is our job. That is our job.
And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Hey everyone, Dave here, December 1773. With me as always is Ryan. This is episode 97 of The Weekly Show, all of the week's hottest topics with a twist. Be sure to catch us on Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Like and comment if you're watching on Facebook and YouTube, and Rumble the video if you're watching on Rumble. Rumble is the free speech alternative to YouTube. And it's also the alternative to YouTube that does not minus your view count. Ryan...
Glad you open with that, David. Tell him.
All right. Well, so we just lost a handful of views on a video. It went down. So I don't know. Maybe someone played it. Maybe someone played it in reverse. As you know, sometimes you do that on YouTube when you play it in reverse. Or maybe they were like rewinding it back in the day when you rented a VHS tape. You would rewind it.
We have apparently interfered in foreign elections.
New Zealand. Yep.
Negative views on it. Like we've had views go this way and then minus.
Yeah, they go up and down on the YouTube. Rumble, they only go up. There's no, you can't unview a video.
We have not even 60 subscribers, which I'm a fortune for all of you. But like the writing's on the wall.
There's probably a reasonable explanation, right? I'm sure there's
minus views. Yeah, I'm sure, David. I'm sure I haven't said anything, or you haven't said anything that has upset somebody somewhere. If Twitter had a problem with Musk buying it,
maybe the views were on Hunter Biden's laptop, and that's why they're lost.
It's Christian soda pop, you know.
Hunter Biden. So I'm gonna open with this. This is the tame stuff that has been leaked from one of his 3 laptops that were missing. This is the tame stuff. I'll open with, I don't have evidence of this, but it is quite agreed upon by people who have seen other laptops that there is very disturbing material, such as pedophilia and, revenge porn and abuse. And, of course, there's the economic stuff like, emails with his father. I
was unaware that Amber Heard and Hunter Biden were friends, David.
Well, they could be very close.
It sounds like something out of a Johnny Depp trial. That was the joke.
This comes from a Daily Mail article that I had seen, and we're going to go over
Trusted
a couple of
sources, right, Dave? Trust source. Remember the Global Economic Forum? They got to make sure we check the source.
I highly doubt this is a trusted source of the World Economic Forum. One of our viewers who had commented, we appreciate all the viewers commenting, said that we should sign up for that and see what kind of information we get. So I think we're going to do that at some point.
We should.
We're going to sign up to be information volunteers for the World Economic Forum.
I love and breed America. American flag with a bald eagle on it for the profile picture for your avatar.
No, we're gonna have to be obvious undercover agents, Ryan.
We're gonna Project Veritas, the World Economic Forum email thread. Veritas, Project Veritas.
Veritas.
Oh,
Veritas. What's that?
Bad taco.
So the Daily Mail writes, exclusive. Hunter's search history reveals his obsession with porn and sex fantasies, including 18-year-olds, lonely widow, and MILF crack cocaine porn. He uploaded his own amateur videos and texted Pornhub links to a phone listed in his contacts as dad. So I know on the surface this doesn't sound good. That search history will get you, Hunter Biden, first of all.
I wonder how they got a search history if his data's not important, David.
Oh, well, because he dropped his laptops off, and the FBI got a hold of it, even though the FBI said they weren't real. So obviously all of this is going to be hilarious because it's very detailed, and we're going to have a good time. And I hope everybody has a good time listening to this. But there is one really concerning thing, and the article opens up with this. Shockingly, Hunter texted a link to a Pornhub page to a phone number he had saved in his contacts listed as dad on October 22nd, 2018. However, other texts show he and Joe Biden used each other's phone numbers at various times. So it is unclear whether the president was using that number at that time. That's huge, right?
Biden found stuff that he liked and then would text it to himself. So when he was back on his own phone, he would have the link from the thing that he found on his son's phone when he was scrolling the internet for disgusting.
Maybe. But can we talk about what a security issue it is that the president and his crackhead son just switched numbers all the time? That sounds like a problem, right?
He's probably got Verizon. They're all right.
Oh. Yeah, so it's unclear, Ryan. It's unclear who's texting Pornhub links to dad. That's a very weird thing to do, though. Just saying. Never sent one to my dad.
Why would Biden need Hunter's cell phone?
Or the other way around. Was Hunter using Biden? I mean, that's a problem, right? Am I crazy?
It sounds like the email thing all over again.
Well, like I said, and keep in mind, everybody, this is the tame stuff. It gets worse than this. It goes on. Hunter, who had a controversial relationship with his brother's widow, as we have talked about on this program, he banged his dead brother's wife, is what that's saying. Also reportedly searched Pornhub for videos involving involving widows, including homemade widow porn, homemade lonely widow porn, and lonely widow porn. The Biden son, who was 49 at the time, searched for porn videos involving teenagers, according to his browsing history. Videos he visited included 18-year-old and really good at riding dick, teen fidelity country girl Raylan Ann Cream Pie, lucky foreign student stripped and fucked by horny teen pals. He just dropped these off. Just left these laying around.
Text him to his dad.
This is a strange, specific thing to search. He also searched Washington, D.C. MILF crack cocaine 7 times throughout the week. One for every day of the week, I presume.
Imagine him cracked out in his hot tub.
Let's all remember the fact, by the way, because we're talking about the approved sources the World Economic Forum wants to hand out, that the New York Times, which I guarantee is an approved source, said this wasn't real when it happened. When the New York Post originally said this, they said it's not real, and Twitter said, okay, we're not going to let anyone see it.
I wonder if that came from all the way up top.
I'm sure it did. For those who are unfamiliar, that would be what's that called? Is it Mockingbird? Is that right? That's when the media all colluded to.
Dude, I started a new job recently, right? And we got on like politics. And the one dude was like, yeah, you don't think COVID's a real thing? I was like, dude, look, the government's lied to me about everything, right? So there was like a time later in the week I referenced Operation Midnight Climax, which is like when they were using MK Ultra experiments with prostitutes. Joe Rogan had a whole podcast on this, where I originally heard it from.
Hunter Biden, apparently, also among his porn searches, is a record of him visiting an old news article about his sister being arrested for partying. Pretty weird. And he also apparently likes to Google himself. Actually, to be clear, he likes to DuckDuckGo himself. I
wonder why he would want to use that.
He searched himself several times between March 12th and March 17th specifically. I don't know. It's very, very odd. He did very odd things. Texts and videos on the laptop show that the president's son ordering prostitutes to his hotel room in California and Connecticut, discussing buying and using crack with them, and filming porn videos with them, which he then posted to his online Pornhub account. No security threat here. This is fine. This is a very successful man who sits on a energy sector board for oil
Where
and
is that
gas.
again, David?
He's very successful. I don't know if you remember, but he was on a board, I believe, for a Ukrainian gas company.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, that's coincidence, I'm sure. The profile picture for his account, everybody, I will give you a 3-second warning. And it's up. Yikes. It is him, a Pokemon, a dog, and 2 women. I'm not sure what's happening in the picture, but well, I know what's happening in the picture, but why there's a dog and a Pokemon, who knows? Screenshots from another explicit video show Hunter left a woman tied up on his bed with a red stocking over her head while he went out to get pastries. He did return, took screenshots, munched on a sandwich, and laid a chocolate croissant out in front of the hooded and trussed woman. Yeah. Yep, just left her tied up. Came back with some pastries.
I wonder if he cooked her breakfast the next morning.
No chance. He probably let her hit the pipe a few times, though. It describes the videos that he uploaded to his own account, which I'm sure nobody wants to know. The videos are mainly filmed using his laptop's webcam. Low production. You're a millionaire sitting on a Ukrainian gas. It's fine.
Probably sold all his shit to buy crack.
I'm mostly offended with his low quality filming. Though he also filmed himself using a phone on a selfie stick on occasion, and in a threesome with 2 women. One of the women used an iPad to film the, quote, hard to reach angles. In several of the raw videos on his computer, he finishes with a woman and then leaves the camera running as he hunches in front of the screen, poring over the footage. So immediately after starts his editing. That's efficiency. I do like that, actually. In one embarrassing post-coital moment, the disheveled Hunter grimaces, leans to the left, and farts audibly. This is the tame stuff, remember? Other Pornhub users have commented on the videos, apparently aware the account was once used by Hunter, which is even extra hilarious. Goon McCummed commented, referring to the porn stars in the playlist video, "Pretty good taste, Hunter. Now, if only you didn't have that taste for the crack and meth." Another user named China Joe Biden wrote, this is Trump, just for the record, "Good morning. It's a beautiful day to make money in China," in an apparent reference to Hunter's controversial Chinese business dealings reportedly under investigation by the FBI, the same FBI that said they have these laptops, but none of this stuff existed.
The same FBI that knew that all these people were dangerous, but just let them walk around amongst us.
Just remember, everybody, when the FBI tells you that these laptops didn't exist and there was nothing bad or controversial, we're going to get the information. It's going to come out. This is the tame stuff that is verified, but there is other stuff that's, as of right now, unverified, but several people who have seen it have said there is very disturbing stuff on the other laptops.
Has he been to Epstein Island?
It's a good question. Luckily, that trial wasn't really aired for some reason. It was overshadowed by something. So, maybe. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm sure him and Clinton would have been a hoot on the private jet.
Can you imagine the Bidens and Clintons partying with fucking selfie sticks and cocaine?
I gotta be honest, I don't think Joe...
Dude, imagine banging recording porn with a selfie stick. That seems so fucking hard. If you can't prop it up somewhere,
we could use, if he really cared about the quality of his work, what he would have done, you can get a GoPro attachment for the chest, and you can do forehead ones too. I'm just saying, there's a lot of options. The selfie stick and the webcam are not options I would have chose.
Imagine the tags on that video: Hunter Biden, GoPro, face cam, 69.
Washington, D.C. crack cocaine would have been one of them.
First person crack cocaine in college.
How about that he bangs his brother's widow wife and then searches widow wife porn? This dude is is messed up.
He probably did it before too. Like he was probably like, "Yo, how can I get her?" Gotta do intel on this.
I don't want to listen. I'm not going to put the guy down for watching porn or whatever. But there's so many red flags in this article. It's ridiculous. And again, this is the tame stuff. There's worse.
I'm sure this is the only news article agency that printed anything like this, David. Right? Like nothing else.
Yeah, there's a couple. I'm sure none of them are trusted, World Economic trusted information, which is why we're going to sign up for to become trusted information. Anyways, Ryan, I thought we'd do something fun and funny to start the show. So, because I know what you had was filled with anger and hate, and rage.
Yeah, probably disgust from my fellow Americans. You know. So, as everybody knows, most people are called keyboard warriors on the internet. And I was one of those this week.
I have heard of this term.
I got into a Facebook thread on the Buffalo News Facebook page.
Always good.
About gun control. It's so, I realized something that maybe I comment too much because I'm a top commenter on the Buffalo News Facebook page.
To be fair.
That little badge.
Yeah, to be fair, I think 2-3 comments, you're probably in the top spot.
Yeah, it just means I got a platform, I guess. Well, the thread grew pretty extensively. And it was over like a political cartoon that said on a whiteboard or on a chalkboard, it said, "The Constitution is a living document." And then it showed an AR-15 on the ground and bullet holes through the living part, right? Because it's saying it's killing the living, right? And it's a fucking farm tractor. I'm at like a gun raffle right now, people. I'm sorry. This is
he's trying to use that gun show loophole that he's heard so much about.
Yeah, I actually talked to my dad about that on the way here. It was so funny. It's not even a real thing. But so yeah, I got in this conversation with people about the Constitution and a living document, and I'm so tired of seeing it. It's a political term. It's not even really a thing. I'm not, now granted, full inside baseball people. I'm just a political commentator. Dave's just a political commentator. We never claim to be experts, but we're not dumb. Not like we haven't done our diligence and looked up some of the shit we're talking about. This isn't just like rolled off the cuff that I just make it up. I said the other week that the Second Amendment has long been disputed. It's long been solidified that civilians can own a gun to defend themselves, and it deals with tyrannical government. That's the purpose. People getting hung up on a well-regulated militia. People getting caught up in the fact that we didn't have weapons of war. People bringing up the fact that they never thought about this and that, and this and that. Buddy, First Amendment applies to the internet, but they didn't have the internet in 1700. How did they know that it would work, David?
Well, I mean, not to mention the fact that we could also debunk the fact that they didn't know we would have... The theory is, when they wrote the Second Amendment, they only had muskets. Well, that's just false. It's wrong. It's
Thanks
wrong
for
information.
bringing that up, David, because I know that. And you know that. And most people who probably watch this podcast know that as well. But I actually had to look it up because I wanted to actually come on my program and get the correct name of the gun and firearm that we're talking about. In particular, there's two I found.
There's a couple. There's the puckle gun.
Yep, the puckle gun.
And
then there was
oh, man, what's it called?
It's close. The Giardoni.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Giardoni. It was an air rifle, and it was invented in 1779.
Correct.
David, when was the country found?
Well, I mean, that's a living truth, Ryan.
1776. We said, fuck the British. Well, what do you know? 3 years later, we didn't even win the war for independence yet, people.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that people kind of forget the fact we had cannons. Cannons existed.
On ships.
On ships.
Private-owned vessels.
Correct.
The puckle gun was from 1718. It was used on ships. It looked like a fucking...
It's really cool.
It looked like a cannon revolver, like a 6-shot cannon. And it just, boom, rotated cylinder. Boom, you'd rotate the cylinder. Boom, rotate the cylinder. This isn't...
Almost like a revolver of types.
If you think they invented that and they were like, huh, I wonder if we could just like, I don't know, change the whole thing. It's dumb. It's so dumb. You shit on our history. You shit on our fucking founders. You shit on human intelligence. How aliens had to build the Pyramid of Giza, right, Dave? Only aliens.
Well,
And ships and skyscrapers.
Well, mostly the Jew slaves, but possibly aliens too.
You don't think, and that's another thing, as
this stems out in so many directions.
It's not an easy conversation to have in 5 minutes. You don't think Thomas Jefferson went to France and helped them fight for the French Revolution? He was an ambassador to go, maybe not him, John Adams, maybe. They were ambassadors to go talk to the King of England. Benjamin Franklin was as well, I believe. But they went to the king and said they tried to redress of their grievances from their government, which is what amendment, David? The first one. Nobody knows that, though, right? I'm sure they didn't have to worry about that at all. So, and if you don't think that they went over there, obviously we're the Rome of the West, right? The new Rome. That's why everything's Roman inspired. The Roman Republic, the American Republic, all these things. It's such deep symbolism all the way. You don't think our founding fathers seen pictures of the pyramids of Giza? You don't think they read the ancient works of Athens and Greece and Roman historians and people all around the world? Because they did. They did. You don't think that they knew how far technology had come already, let alone where technology could go?
I would imagine they knew all of those things.
We still don't know how they built the pyramids. We don't know how they built the Colosseum. We've lost ancient technologies for just building buildings. That doesn't mean that we're not capable of great things. It doesn't mean that you can't have imagine, this is something about the Dark Ages, right? It's called the Dark Ages because after the Roman Empire fell, there was 1,000 years of blackness. That's where like medieval, a lot of the bubonic plague came. All these things. It's a very important time in Western culture because it's almost the death of the West, which invented freedom, goddammit. But it's known as the Dark Ages because these people had no history of their past. They were walking around a world built by people, and they didn't know how it was built. Because in that time, the Romans went into England. People who don't know this, Britannia, all these things. London was actually originally set up cartograph, whatever it's called, when they go on there on site and like they say this is the boundaries. The Romans set that up in London. Was set up by the Romans. So they've had a footprint there for 1,000 years. You know, it's not an exaggeration. So they're walking around buildings built by people. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just so tired of people shitting on our ancestors when they're literally just as intelligent as we are now. Just because they didn't have fancy phones that could talk halfway around the world, they invented the very systems that eventually led to that. These people were practical. They knew the leaves by looking at them, the stars by looking at them. You don't think that they could figure things out? They built the damn guns in the 1700s. We just got better. We just improved everything. The modern era only improves. You don't think they knew that? They're alive in 1800, and they could look at pyramids of Giza, and they're like, wow, how far have we come? You don't think the founders knew that stuff, man?
They had technology. I mean, it was just different. The context of the technology was a lot different than what we think of, but they still had technology. They still had things changing.
And go full circle, because the whole idea of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence is that it could be used everywhere and be redone everywhere and could be not reinterpreted, but looked at through a modern eye as far as our language. Because that's the only thing that's different. The idea is supposed to be that civil liberties don't change. The idea of freedom doesn't change. The idea of I was always told that the Second Amendment is the linchpin for your other freedoms. Because without it, you can't defend them. What's good is the freedom of speech and the freedom of assembly and the freedom of religion and the freedom of unlawful jury trials, of the freedom of the states' rights, the 10th Amendment. What's the good of all these freedoms and liberties bestowed by our Creator, bestowed by our people that came before us, our forebears that built it into our government, that made it by law? The government's job is to uphold these liberties, and they shackle them. They have boards for disinformation. Like fucking Orwell wrote about it. The Ministry of Truth at a federal level. The founders knew. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. That's older. That saying is older than America. Once again, the Constitution is the starting place. If anything gets corrupt, the whole idea that they built this thing, especially the Second Amendment, that's why I get so. I've waited. This used to be the only thing I ever cared about, and then it distanced me from people. And then I tried finding common ground, and then here we are. I found myself at the very arguments that started me in this shit. And I still have to say it. Nothing's changed. The Second Amendment makes the other rights absolute. The founders knew it. The idea is that we can look at the Constitution and be like, if everything's corrupt, if everything's overthrown, if the government's so big that it crushes individual liberty, because that's all they cared about was freedom, not money. They pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred oath for the pursuit of freedom. This wasn't a thing to just get rich. What good is money if you're not free? They knew. They knew what happened. Thomas Jefferson, the Constitution would become a thing of wax in the hands of the legislature, in the hands of the Supreme Court.
Meaning what? They could mold it? Meaning they would make it a living document, perhaps?
That they could just turn it in. Think of something of wax. You can't hold it, right? It melts. It's destroyable. I've been to the Constitution. You could fucking blow the building up, and that little plexiglass is going to be there. 6-inch thick glass. They got a fucking light beaming on the thing because the symbolicness of this document. What good is the document if I can't fucking defend it? But I'm told it's living. I'm told it's living. AR-15s, believe me, patriots will make fucking swords if you disarm them to defend their country and their family. If you don't think I'm gonna whittle something out of a fucking stick, that's the Second Amendment. The fight for fucking liberty is violence because tyrants are the violence. They only know one thing. They can only be stopped. Tyrants can only be stopped with violence. When you've had enough. I thought of this today. Imagine people working their whole fucking lives, getting a house, a family, a career, building a business, and they come home and their fucking electricity's off because it's too hot out, because of this, because your Facebook post. You think I'm just going to keep driving my car? Keep making shit expensive? You got to buy food on credit cards? You think people are going to keep going this way? Why do they need to restrict freedom so bad then, David? It's like they almost know the pursuit. They almost know, like they know what is going to happen as they keep grabbing people's freedoms. We will naturally rebel, almost like we've done all of our human history. I wonder why the government spends millions of fucking dollars in military money to study PSYOPs and to have these projects of Operation Mockingbird and Whistling Dixie and all these fucking cool little cute names. They've studied human nature. Google can tell you what you're going to search before you search it. Why do they care about this, David? Why do they care about? You think it's by accident they spend money on this?
As the president says, this is no accident.
Welcome to 2035. You have no freedom, you own nothing, and you're the happiest you've ever been. Slavery sounds great. May your chains rest on you lightly. Give me freedom or give me death. Patrick Henry. Inspired Thomas Jefferson, goddammit. And I'm told these people are evil and they couldn't think of the future when they built the best future ever. The world we come from is violent. I had to tell my daughter this week what bombs were. We have representatives saying they can't read Ukraine aid, right? And it had a picture of bombs on the screen. Get in at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, got to sign up by 7, doesn't have time to read a 1,000-page bill with $40 billion fucking dollars. I'm supposed to believe you disarming me? The most popular rifle? The most one that's most practical weapon of war? Weapon of war. The president's got weapons of war. My schools don't. Banks have weapons of war, but I don't. You don't even want a 9mm pistol. The fucking...
Well, that'll blow a lung out, Ryan.
I mean, I don't even have something the size of 9mm. It's small. Blow a lung out.
Yeah.
You don't think these people know that? You don't
And
think they know that?
don't forget the AR-15 can decapitate an adult human also.
It definitely probably could. It probably definitely could. The military. God, this is so dumb. The military trains with a 3-round burst in their M16 carbines, which is what everybody thinks the AR-15 is, which it is. It's a 3-round burst because even the military understands that fully automatic weapons are overkill. Okay? They're not. It's not that it's a humane thing. The military looks at what is the most cost-effective way to kill somebody, and it is chest, head. They train that in the military. It's how they train them to shoot. Because as you shoot, the bullets come up and the recoil. You don't think these people know what the hell they're saying when they're up there talking about gun laws and we need to increase. I was going to sit there and read the news article about Joe Biden, but you know what? I'm not even going to bother. I'm not even going to fucking bother. Talk about raising the age. None of it would have stopped the gun control. The mass shootings. I said, Dave, that article too. They actually admitted and they told you what a mass shooting is. And it's when 4 people are shot or killed at one time, not including the shooter.
And, well, this is really important because when people judge mass shootings against other countries, different countries define it differently.
I wonder why.
So just be clear about that. So when people say America has more mass shootings, okay, let's dig deep though. We consider it 4 people or more. Germany might this isn't an exact number, but Germany might consider it 20 people or more. You know, it's tough to compare when the comparison isn't the same.
And it's so dumb. We have to. I said last week, children have to die for us to talk about this so that we can look at it with a modern lens. It's not about looking at it and needing it to be modern. There's a reason the Bible's still around. There's a reason stories are told for thousands of years because they're true. They're absolute. It is not a debate that the Constitution, Declaration of Independence, and the American Revolutionary War and the Civil War have made the world an infinitely better place. It's not a debate. You can't debate Western culture. Well, we got all the cool stuff. We do all the cool stuff. Other countries have to steal our stuff and emulate our stuff and look to it. But I got to hear about we got low school grades and we need more funding. It's the design takeover of our country. Back to the gun. I threw my book because I'm so pissed off about this. The Constitution. Here's the thing. We can say it's a living document because you want to view it in 2022. Yeah. Dave, are laws or not? Are laws or are they opinions?
Well, they are laws.
Then why would the Constitution be any different if it's the law of the land?
Well, what they're talking about is changing the law, and that's where it gets real concerning. And this is, you know what they're...
It was one of the, back to the whole Buffalo News.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just back to that Buffalo News thing. The one guy said, well, the amendments, do you know what amendments means? And if you look it up, it's a lawful legal change. Oh my God, how wonderful. Once again, words are important. I knew that. You know what I mean? Like, I understand this. You guys are telling me stuff. It takes 2/3 majority to change the constitutional amendment at the federal level.
Yep. This is civics. This is what people need to know.
Good luck getting that.
But
good luck.
But
good luck.
Here's where it gets concerning because they know they won't get that. They know they're not getting 2/3. So
that's why. Even go through American history. That's what took so long for slavery. Took so long for women. Landowners, kids, whatever. Look at all the amendments after the first 10 even. Because some of those, there's a couple added right after the country was founded. Because they knew. Nope, this is why we have this process. Everybody agrees. We see the hole. We see the flaw. Patch it. But the point of the amendments is that it's not supposed to be this abrupt thing. Because once again, our magical, dumb, little racist founders knew that if they could make it hard to make an amendment change, people wouldn't just willingly give up things or change their mind on laws at a whim's notice and be able to federalize everything or make it this grand law. It would take time. People would have to agree. There could be conversation. There could be civil discourse. They could iron out the bad parts of the laws, make them better. But then there was a legal process. Executive orders are not a legal process. Ruling from the Supreme Court, not a legal process. Checks and balances.
I gotta
To look at the Second.
I have an interesting question because what they're doing and what they've always done and what they're going to continue to do is they're not going to get 2/3 and overturn, any of the amendments because they know it's going to be too difficult. So what they do is they slightly modify, raise the age to 21 to purchase rifles or whatever. But that brings about an interesting question. When do your rights start?
Can you have 99% freedom, David?
No.
Okay.
No.
I know when they start. I mean, that was one of the things. I've said about. That's what pains me the most about death of civil liberties is when you think about how many people aren't even born yet. They have less freedom than I do. They haven't even experienced the freedom I was given, that I was blessed to have in my life. And we're thieving it from our grandchildren. Because of our grandchildren getting shot. Because we have problems in our society. Because we have things that are overlooked. Because we have politicians that know exactly what they are doing and they can fix the problem, but they'd rather let the problem happen so they could act and pose as saviors. And then they say, look at what I did. When they allow it to happen by proxy, just like they lie about things to let the election happen one way, or that they selectively let information out, or they lie by omission because they only tell you half truths. You don't think they do that with guns? Guns are the most assaulted liberty you have. And why would you assault the most violent of our abilities? It's always hard to discuss the Second Amendment because you have to go on this very long, sophisticated civics lesson, and then it gets boring and you distance people, and then you sound crazy because you have to go so absolute because it's the only true way to really get across how important it really is. We really take what we have for granted. The only thing defending our other freedoms and globalism is the Second Amendment, is the threat of force from the civilian to the government. That is when we have equal power. Even though they have nukes, even though they have fucking drones and they have they have kill squads, they have our Department of Agriculture has a SWAT team, Department of Education has one too, I think, but they don't have one for the fucking school systems. But I digress. I could go all day about this. This is the thing that radicalized me to fight back and speak out against. And we gained a sub this week. Shout out to Mike. I'm not gonna say his last name, but another Mike on the show. But yeah, I kind of was just making conversation, and I sent him a couple of things. He commented on one of my posts, and he said hey man, I know you used to do the podcast thing. Hope that's going well or whatever. I told him, I pointed him to the pod and stuff. But when I meet people like that, where I talk to people like that, I always am reminded that I was put here to stop these people because I know people either A, didn't care, B, can't retain. I've always talked about it. It's why we're here. Dave and I are here to help, keep this ship on course. But it's just so inspiring because I've lost friends and family, basically relations, because you get to a point you sound so extreme. And not everybody is willing to sacrifice everything for what they believe in. And it's basically the crux of the Second Amendment is that at the last ditch effort, at least we have this to stop this tyranny. And if you can't see that, if you think it's a living document, I got a bridge to sell you.
Not to mention the fact, context of everything's important. There is a stipulation in the Constitution about overthrowing tyrannical governments. I'll leave that there. You can feel free to look that up if you want. But that's the importance of knowing history, because people who don't know the history don't know the context of the amendments, so they just look at an amendment and they say, well, you just want to keep your guns. Well, let's scroll all the way back 200 plus years. Why did we need the guns to begin with? And it's the same reason Ukrainians need guns now. It's the same reason X person needs guns. It's the same reason we're going to need guns in the future. It's always boils down to first and foremost self-defense, defense from tyrants, keeping your other freedoms. I mean, it's really that simple.
Yeah, and if it wasn't, if the founders didn't have a gun and they overthrew the government with swords, they would put that every guy should be able to be trained with a sword. Believe it. There's no difference. There's no difference. Self-defense. I mean, I've talked about this on the program plenty of times. 1775, they outlawed the colonies to own guns and train as an army. The militia, the birthplace of the militia. They abolished that. England, common law England. That's why they gave...
Context matters.
You don't think that they knew what they were doing when they just literally overthrew a government with arms?
That's the most important thing, is they just went through it. It just happened. They know exactly how important guns are.
Yeah. Boston Tea Party. Right before that was the Boston Massacre.
Which was an official mass shooting.
Indeed. By government. I had a thought. You know how they always bring up Manifest Destiny and how our forebears were poisonous and want to steal land? Let me get this straight.
Oh.
The founders knew about Manifest Destiny, but they never thought about the evolution of firearms.
No, they couldn't possibly have foreseen it coming.
But they could see them conquering all the way to the other edge of America, knowing it would take 100 years.
I don't understand. I'd never understand.
Just
we had a navy with ships and boats and cannons and we had cannons and we had bayonets and we had a bayonet. What's a bayonet? It's an attachment to a firearm. Like we had all of this information. They knew that firearms were going to progress. They already progressed. It was already more than muskets. Because people aren't dumb. They knew this. You're dumb because you don't understand the context of the history.
Yeah, I seen a statistic. I'm going to make a crazy jump, but it parallels nicely. I seen a thing John sent it in the December chat, and it said that like 21% of Gen Z identifies as LGBT party or whatever.
Yeah.
Now, granted, you could go into the statistical thing. Who'd you research? What age? Blah, blah, blah. That's not important. I thought to myself this week, maybe if 21% of them identified as historians, we wouldn't be so fucked up right now. You know? That's why they don't want you. I thought about this, like, my whole life I was like this ancient. I talked about this, like, in old cultures and this and then military history. And, like, yeah, I was like the minority of my friends. Like, maybe it's like a very small group of people throughout all of human history have been obsessed with history of humans. You know, so when they separate and they take things off the internet, it just makes it harder to get your history. And
yeah,
it's apparent they don't want you to know it. That's, you know, that's why everything's streaming, so you don't own hard copies of things. You know, what perfect way to censor things. It's just a whole rabbit hole. I guess I'll move along here. Oh, you know what? Fuck it. I've lost friends because they don't want to talk politics, but they are talking about global carbon taxes and disarming the American people and global government now, openly. When I told them, you know, see the things that go around in your life, full circle. Talk about it. Now, I don't want to talk about this. Now we're talking about global carbon tax, and you're going to track me on everything I eat. I thought of this. You don't think the smartphone wasn't a way to track you? The whole idea of the smartphone, the apple of Eden, you bit the apple of the devil, Satan. They can track you, trace you, brainwash you, subliminalize you. You don't think this was a military-made thing? You don't think they understood the value, what smartphones could do before they made them?
Well, let me ask you this. I don't know if anyone can remember this, but try to think back to your first smartphone and ask yourself this. Did it have location on it?
I don't think so. I don't think so. You know, I remember Splinter Cell's an old game now, but the first one came out, it had to be like the mid-2000s. And the character in that had something, it was like basically a smartphone on his wrist, and that's like how you would access your inventory and missions and the map, right? They made it like a usable thing in the game. But it's basically a smartphone. We didn't even have smartphones. We had flip phones still. That's just a dumb video game based on a book, Tom Clancy. If you don't think that they make all this stuff on purpose.
Well, it's kind of like way back in the day in the Jetsons. Didn't he always have like a little wristwatch that he could communicate with? And now everybody's got the smartwatches.
Yeah.
But the founders couldn't possibly see a automatic rifle of some type, high capacity rounds, high caliber weaponry. No way they saw any of that coming.
Dude, that
when it was already there.
That Gardati air rifle, 1799, Lewis and Clark used it in their expedition all the way across to the Pacific, right? In 1803 to 1806. Had a 30-round magazine, and it was the first repeating rifle and first one with a tubular magazine.
Sounds like that was a weapon of war, Ryan.
The Puckle gun that was on like the ship and stuff, I read that they had square bullets that they would use on the Islams because they hurt more. So they were fucking with ballistics, and the way bullets hit you and hurt you, like they fuck with ballistics in the 1718. That gun was first invented, the Puckle gun. So it's just we think we're so advanced. We really do. We're the same people with just a little cooler stuff. So we always talk about globalism being inevitable here, and fuck it. Globalism being inevitable and stuff. So I was gonna send the clip to Dave and see if he could like chop it and make like maybe promotions or whatever. So I found the video. It's Xi Jinping from a year ago talking about it, and it's obviously dubbed because he speaks fucking Mandarin or whatever, Mandalorian, and Mandalorian, and I breezed through the comments. I don't know what came over me. They were so pro China. It wasn't even funny.
Well,
this guy's talking about global government, global economy, a global flood of money. It's just like People's Republic. Yeah, we love them. Generational crimes and all. All right, I'm just going to double back since we talked about Second Amendment stuff already. Literally last week, we talked about school defense.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
I got a phone call from my daughter's school on Thursday, bomb threat at the high school and middle school. My daughter goes to elementary school, thank God. School is safe, everything resolved fine, blah, blah, blah. Police there, great. Glad, happy.
Police were there, or they were outside waiting for the bomb to go off?
Well, they have a resource officer there. Like a full-time cop at my daughter's school system.
Yeah.
Because here in suburbia, we can afford that shit apparently, but we can't everywhere else in the world. Dude, I feel bad for inner city people, man. It's bullshit. So I have a cousin that goes to the high school, and I sent her a text. Apparently a 6th grader brought a grenade to school.
Where the fuck did you get a grenade from? Those are illegal, I think. I don't think civilians can own grenades.
You can't own a live grenade, which is what I was wondering, because you can buy grenades at like gun shows, but they're disarmed. They like literally drill a hole in it and drain out the gunpowder, or they either take that or the blasting cap off, or I don't know like the makings of a grenade, but they disarm them and then you can buy them. So it's just like a novelty. You know what I mean? Because you can own these things. They're part of our history. The relics of the past. I mean, World War II grenades look fucking cool, man. You know what I mean? But so I'm curious. I haven't heard any information. I haven't seen like a press release or a police release. But obviously, a 6th grader didn't buy a grenade. I hope a parent is going to either not maybe go to jail, but something, fine, ACD, like something has to be like there. We need to have like a 6th grader with a grenade. I'm sure that kid's played Call of Duty. I'm not one to blame video games, but it is like a pool to step your toe into when you start understanding firearms. If you're not used to them, if they're not in your family, you're only going to see them through video games, which is why maybe as a culture we should promote more safe firearm handling discussions, the whole thing. We should promote this. It shouldn't be shunned. It shouldn't be cornered on the internet. It shouldn't be censored. We should have the educational debate as well as the hobby, all that. This is all part. It's all part of gun control. I want safe guns, and I want safe people with guns. I want all the same things you guys do, but you can't gut my freedom to make us all safe. It's not how it works. It's we the people, not we the government, like Joe Biden said. All right, a couple things I can breeze through all this. GOP primary in Pennsylvania, the Trump-backed candidate has won in the GOP primary. I'm not here to get into this, rip this apart. Dave, you currently live in the state. I just wanted to reference that it was the Trump-backed candidate in the state that had controversy about the election.
Oh, like changing voting laws like a week before it happened?
Moving onward.
An unapproved change of voting laws a week before it happened?
Nothing to see here, David. Shush, 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 shush. We're just going to change everything the week before. Why is it so hard to change the amendments? Well, you don't want to just like make laws a week before you need them.
How about 3/3 to change the voting laws? How's that sound?
That's fucking odd. Oh, we just don't want spontaneous laws overnight. New York Safe Act. No one needs 10 bullets to kill a deer. Monkeypox news is growing. I seen a Buffalo News article that said, "quote It may be time for a wake up of the world," or something along these lines. It's going to be a wake up to the world.
Oh, wake up to the world.
Not countries, the world, all of it.
Well, that's because we're all one now. We're, all living in a global society.
Yeah, global economy. It's unpreventable. Ha 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 ha. I ran a podcast how money was made this week. Very interesting. I'll reference it at the end. But so I actually sent a couple things to Dave about numbers and the economy. So the Ukraine aid, right? I got a little curious. It was $53 billion. It might max out around there.
Yeah, it's
Elon Musk bought. Okay. There's no real mass public outcry. Anybody who says you're not for the Ukraine aid, you're fucking supporting Nazis and all this other crazy stuff, right?
When ironically, it's the opposite.
So if I don't want to send $53 billion of all me and my countrymen's money and business owners' money and private entrepreneurs' money, if I don't want to do that, I'm racist and all these things. Promoting fucking death and I'm a Russian operative. Okay?
Rich, for the record, I don't. Just so we're clear.
Yeah, me neither. Probably nobody here on the program does. But then I compared it to when Elon bought Twitter for $44 billion, which he has yet to do. And
he could have ended world hunger with that.
Give us all $1 trillion, right? There was all the outrage for Elon and his $43 billion and all the shit that he could have done with that. He could give it to homeless. He could buy people's houses, blah, blah, blah. But the Ukraine aid, I'm racist if I want to keep it in the country.
Yeah, but they're saving children from violent Russians, Ryan. Elon just wants to end speech on the left, even though he's neutral.
Yeah. And bring Trump back. I won't be on Twitter. Yeah, he will, Trump.
He will.
I'm sure if he gets his Twitter back, all those tweets are just magically going to reappear and they're not going to be fucked with at all.
That's a really good question, Ryan. Dude.
Dave. We lost 5 views on YouTube. What the fuck are they going to do to Trump's Twitter when they get it back?
No,
you think it's going to be the same house he left?
I'm interested how the workings of that is. Now, don't get me wrong. I have no doubt that if Twitter were to hand it back, there'd be information scrubbed from his Twitter. But I'm just interested in how much it saves. Does it save the entire database and then they just lock them out until it comes back on? Or how's that? I don't know. I don't work at Twitter. Maybe I'll go on a date with one of them and they'll tell us.
The NSA has like a 30-story building in Idaho or New Mexico or Minnesota. I know those are all different places. But you can look at it. It takes millions of gallons of water to cool all the computers holding all of our data. If I'm supposed to believe that it actually is deleted, do you remember that thing called the permanent record in high school? And that was paper? You know, they have everything I've ever done ever. Ever. They're not giving Trump his Twitter back exactly. They fucked with it. It's just the whole thing's crazy. So yeah, my whole point about bringing up the billions of dollars and people being outraged is no one cares about our money in government or private policy until they're told it's a problem. The Ukraine and the Elon Musk are far different ideas, but if we separate the ideas and focus on the money and focus how people reacted about the discussion on the money, you can obviously see the agenda at foot. And that's all just keep it in mind, people.
And that's, in a nutshell, Operation Mockingbird.
Globals. Yeah, pretty much.
There's a reason people feel different about those things. It's because they are led to.
Overton window as well. Propose an extreme idea. and then they make you believe a little less of an extreme idea, but it's still heading in the political narrative that they want you to. It's all picked for you. Go through door A and B. It's already pre-selected. Wizard of Oz, Behind the Curtain. I could give you a million analogies for it, but they're all the same thing. So I sent Dave a video of Trump during the 2016 election when he was on stage just swinging fucking baseball home runs, dude, just cracking everything. I'm the greatest candidate ever. But he's talking about the failure of the war in Iraq, how we spent $2 trillion, lost thousands of lives, and they lied about weapons of mass destruction.
Could end world hunger with that money.
And I almost cried, man. I'm not going to lie to you. I told Dave that. God, I miss Trump. I miss that energy. And now, let's go full circle. At that time, Trump was crazy. Okay? That was not a mainstream Republican talking point. That was not in the GOP messaging. That wasn't out of the average, even gun owner Republican's mouth.
No, it would make them look bad.
Yeah, only people seriously following politics understood that Iraq was a scam. They lied. It didn't make sense. Only serious people, only commentators, only people like me and Dave following politics as a hobby knew this. To see it at the time when Trump, that was the shit that made me like Trump more than other candidates. It's because he was saying that stuff. Because that was a conspiracy when I started politics. Now it's in the main-wing Republican talking point. That's mainstream Republicanism. Overton window.
I believe what we're leaning towards is the fact that the Republicans are now the party of anti-war. I don't think they're actually anti-war because I think their pockets get fat just like the people on the left. But it's interesting because I commented on a Kamala Harris post on Facebook. Something about raising the age of gun ownership to 21, and I put something along the lines of, people can go to war at 18 and die with guns, but they can't own them as a civilian. And people who defend Kamala Harris, man, they sounded pretty pro-war. Just saying, they didn't sound anti-war like the old Democrats used to be.
Yep.
Or used to portray themselves as is the more accurate statement.
Trump sounded like Alex Jones in that video at that time. And I know that because I listened to Alex Jones at that time. I listened live when Trump was on Alex. He sounded like a conspiracy theorist. Now it's main wing talk. Everybody knows. Everybody I talk to, yeah, man, Iraq, blah, blah, blah. You guys laughed at me. You guys made fun of me. Said I was crazy. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. I'm okay. Thank you. Country people. Racist rednecks out here not giving a fuck about human life. They just want to see grandparents die because they don't wear. Dude came all out of sidekick. Look at this dude.
He's coming out. He's like, oh, that boy white? Is he white?
Is he pretty?
He's a white boy. Let's go see if he's okay.
Racist rednecks out here, man. I'll tell you. Yeah, God, I miss Trump. It was crazy to see him go from conspiracy to fucking fact. But I ran across the thing in the Erie County Police blotter. I'm not going to read it. But what's important to reference, it's on the internet. Go to their Facebook page. It was from the other day. But a guy he posted bail and they let him go. He had heroin, thousands of dollars in cash, illegal handguns. A fucking murderous drug dealing criminal. Just let go.
Well, he posted bail.
Yeah, I'm glad he posted bail. It's just crazy to think they're letting these criminals back out on the streets while they're trying to disarm us. This is like all the more reason these people know what they're doing. Just setting the narrative. I'm telling you people, this is in my hometown area, our county of Erie County, where Buffalo is. Like this literally affects my life. My kid could be outside with this asshole around. You know what I mean? Like, disarm me though. I wonder if he's just gonna show up with his five minimum handgun clip when he's icing people. Somebody gets hit by a stray bullet. Fucking unbelievable. Last thing, I'll get to my Decembertainment. I'm so tired of Pride Month.
What?
Every Everybody's changing their fucking logos. I gotta go into Target and see fat mannequins with fucking rainbow flags on them.
Wait,
Tired of it. Pride Month. I better see 4th of July. I better see the grass fucking spray painted red, white, and blue. The only country on earth that really allows gays and all this other cool stuff, but I gotta have it shoved down my throat.
This one.
Gotta have this gay stuff shoved down my throat. I'm not even like this normally. I don't care about gay people.
Is this good?
At some point, I start to believe it's an agenda, though.
I'll take this down in a month. Is this not good? Should I do Ukraine? Is that better? Like
they got American flag. Right,
well, I would change it to that, but there's not one in here.
That's odd. That's odd.
Yeah.
Is that odd? Is that crazy? Anybody else? You drive around, you see more Ukrainian flags and LBGT flags than you do the American flag. We have like social Stockholm syndrome to how bad they're screwing us over. They have theft our country from us, stolen our history, said it's racist, and all these other evil things when we made the world infinitely better. Everybody that goes to work is a better person. It's just crazy. Political Stockholm syndrome at a mass level. It's like gaslighting every day in the news. I got to talk to people that don't know anything on fucking Facebook, and they act like they're political scholars. Which Dave and I happen to be, YouTube. Because, you know, science and opinion can't be separated, just like mine and the political discussion. All right, I'll stop getting upset here. Decembertainment this week. Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi series.
Yeah. Did you watch?
Episode 3 dropped.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Good? Did it pull you in?
Dude, I want a series on Darth Vader just murdering people.
Oh, I'm sure that's coming.
It's fucking incredible.
You better believe that's in the works.
Dude, dragging people out of this house, force choking on their, breaks a dude's neck with the flip of his wrist. It's like, this is fucking great. He catches Obi-Wan on a planet on like some distant farm, fucking whatever nerdy thing. But dude, you know how like Darth Vader was made, right? He gets his arms and legs cut off. He rolls down. He touches some fire, burns, starts screaming. Ah! Obi-Wan thinks he's dead. And then in this series, he finds out he's alive. Obi-Wan's all super scared, blah, blah, blah. Then they fight. Then Vader beats the shit out of him. Takes some flammable stuff, throws it on the ground. Lights it up on fire. Picks Obi-Wan up, starts dragging him through the fire like he did in episode 3. It's fucking great. It's cinematic gold. I'm like, holy shit. God, Disney wrote good stuff. I do have to say though, I noticed that on this episode, I have one bad thing to say about the show. Princess Leia's in it, like her fucking kid self, right? Talking to Obi-Wan. And I know why they have Leia in there. I just wish they wouldn't use a 10-year-old to push story narratives forward. And what I mean by that is like sometimes when Obi-Wan and Princess Leia have a conversation, it seems like Princess Leia needs to be like 10 years older to have that conversation make sense. You know, now granted, I know she's a princess and a senator's daughter and asthma. You know, I get it. I'm not like I'm suspending my disbelief because I do enjoy it. Overall, I give it a 5-star. I like everything they're doing, blah, blah, blah. It's just not that I have to do it. But when I watch these things, I told you guys, I get nerdy about films and characters. It's cool. Mm-hmm. It's cool to me. And I like telling good stories myself. So I rip apart stories that I like in particular more so. But that was like the thing. It felt cheesy, right? Like it felt like fake or forced, or that it was just like a very cheap way to push the story forward without like thinking about interesting ways of introducing new characters, or like maybe Obi-Wan has to do this thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like it just seems like you're cheating. You know, this kind of reminded me, I didn't watch The Mandalorian, but it's almost like Obi-Wan's got the Baby Yoda. It's just Princess Leia. It was The Mandalorian and Baby Yoda, and now it's Princess Leia and Obi-Wan. It's like a cheap, like a skin. It's like a copy paste of like the same kind of thing. So I don't know. I know it sounds little and dumb, but that is my only critique of the show. this past week was pretty cool. I don't stay current on shows, but I'll probably stay current on this one, considering what I've seen this past week. I just thought it was just so cool. You know, I love when movies and shows make me feel like I'm a kid again. You know, and that's kind of what I got. So
yeah, that'll bring you back.
Yeah, I appreciate everybody, David. You the most, and like, comment, subscribe, do all the YouTube things. December 17th, 73. Yeah, because you know it will add to the view count if you stick around.
No, or subtract. We're not sure.
You guys know I appreciate it. If you stay to the end the most, David, I appreciate you. Dave Ryan, December 17th, 73. Like, comment, subscribe. We drop every Monday Eastern at 7. I'll see you there for the premiere. And until next time, go Bills.
Until next time, we're just gonna shake around a little.
All right, now excuse me. I'm gonna get back to this gun raffle and stare at all the hot fucking chicks here, because the Republicans have hotter women, and it is known.
Thanks, Ryan.